Favorite time of the year, March Madness. And couldn't be more excited about our group. Obviously, last night was a heartbreaker, but what a great game to be a part of. They had 15,000 fans. The environment was electric, and I thought we competed. There's some great moments we can take from that game, especially at free throws. A couple missed box outs, some silly slap down and ones. But again, you got to have perspective of the women's basketball landscape. Women's basketball, for where we're projected, if we make the NCAA tournament, you got to go to somebody's home court. So to have that last regular season game was great for us to bottle that and reflect on that for down the line. Because, again, if we're fortunate to advance in the SEC tournament, you're playing in South Carolina and possibly will have to face South Carolina. So this moment's going to arise again. But, again, I'm happy where my team's at. We're getting better, and the best part about it is there's still another level for us to reach. You look at an LSU team that I think has a possibility of being a number one seed at the end of the day in the NCAA tournament, and the fact that you can come out on their home court on senior day and win the first quarter and absolutely battle for the next three quarters. There at the end in that last 5 minutes, we fouled and let the game obviously get a little bit larger margin. But my kids competed, and I'm excited going into this SEC tournament.
So you said the other night that you think you were in, and a lot of people are projecting you guys to be in the NCAA tournament. So now that you kind of basically know that you guys are likely going into March Madness, how does that impact your mindset going into the SEC tournament, knowing that you got other things ahead too? Does that kind of change anything?
No, I just got to have perspective and talk to my young women about, how many one-game tournaments can we win. That's how you got to look at this, not who's a possible next opponent, but that's the beauty of March Madness, especially for us in the SEC tournament. Again, the women's basketball landscape is a lot different for the men. For us to come already out with projections of the top 16 seeds, which is pretty much set, there's not going to be much change for the top of women's basketball. So what do these storylines provide us? One, all of us have a chance to compete for something, right? We're all, even at the top of the top, you always want to compete for a championship, whether it's regular season, conference, or obviously a national championship. But for us, it's the Cinderellas. It's the underdogs to improve their stock, continue to make a name for themselves, and just, again, be playing even better basketball before the March tournament. Big dance.
You talked last night about having put this loss behind you because obviously the schedule keeps going and things are going fast. Have you been able to gauge today where this group is at, mentality-wise?
I just know my team now. I know, like we've had before. I could just feel a pulse in the locker room. We're disappointed because we're competitors, but at the same time, we had perspective. You know what? When we got done with the game, we knew at that point we were a number 5 seed because, again, I think we were voted by the media 8th. I love you, media. All right. Hey, you guys got to get up on the podium, okay? And answer those questions. So, again, we live about defining odds and narratives, and as much as we're excited that we know where this boat's going, where this ship's sailing. And so, even though there wasn't laughter or joy because we lost, we're competitors, but at the same time, we're in a good spot. We're hungry to get back to practice. And, again, this team's story this year is we don't break. So I'll have some fighters ready to go in, hopefully here for the SEC tournament. But we're going to get everybody's best punch because the records don't matter at this point. Everybody's even.
Just to kind of follow up on that, what does it mean to you, first year here, and like you said, those expectations were a lot lower than you finished. What does it mean to finish top 5 in the SEC, and how much does that kind of become part of the sales pitch to recruits and transfers moving forward?
Yeah, it's everything. It's huge. It's again that we're doing things the right way, and we're highly competitive in one of the best conferences in the country. So again, that goes back to our saying, why not us? We're about defining the odds and giving people, whether they're returners or second chance or third chance, that you know what, when you come together in a good environment with good people, you can do great things. And that's been the storyline this year, and it's been fun to be their coach.
Coach Jans talks about Tola being his anchor for his team. Maybe the same for Jessica Carter for yours?
Yeah. I've got multiple anchors. Again, this team's different because I've got a lot of great individuals, and I think that's the storyline for this year. Is I got a team. I got a team, and night in and night out, we've seen it, whether a different leading scorer, a different leading rebounder, unsung hero. So for us, especially where this team has been, we haven't been back to the March dance. We've been outside. We've had a lot of team adversity, so that's why I keep, for me, emphasizing team performance and team play, because I couldn't be more happy with how our team has played.
John, this is
Kind of going off, the questions from before there, but, is seeding like something that you're really like kind of looking at, like going into this, or is it just at this point, because you said the top ones are already pretty much set, like are y'all looking at, well, maybe we can jump to X seed or whatever, or is that not?
Yeah, you talking about for the NCAA March? Yeah, of course. No, I would love a deep run to improve our seeding. If you look at projections, and again, that's what's so hard about all this. There's great storylines so we can talk about what other people are saying, but it's not the truth, right? You got the one area that is the truth that determines the top 16, and then we got bracketology. And then there's no truth about that. We think we're in, but there's no guarantee. It's two different committees. So, for me, for being in this, you want to win so we can improve our seeding. You don't want to be that 8-9 and then you're playing the number 1 seed in the second round. You would love to squeeze up and see if we can't move up into that 7, 6, 5 possibly. I haven't been in this situation for where we're projected in a deep run in the conference tournament to see how far we can go. Like, I haven't looked at it numerically, to your point, but I do know this. Being in the SEC, there's a lot of great quad 1, quad 2 games ahead where those are only going to add to our resume, where other programs across the country don't have the same opportunities that we're going to have in front of us. So we only can improve based on how far we go moving forward.
How do you guys, because I know you've been an assistant before, how do you balance, preparing for tournament? Is there, one assistant watching Vandy, one watching A&M? Is there one looking ahead at Ole Miss already? How do you guys do that?
Yeah, great question. So beautiful thing we had at Louisville, and we were able to go, we went I was there, 9 years. I think we played for, don't quote me on this, 4 or 5 conference championships. All right, I know we only won 1, but I have experience in this, and the reason why is because we had teamwork. So right now I teamed up Gabe and Corey, because I know we were laughing here on records, right? So we're combining, I felt like an NBA team here. We're combining those two for Vanderbilt, and then obviously Coach Page just had Texas A&M, so that's the beautiful thing. We played them twice this year, so we're familiar. She'll watch, 2 games I think they've played since we played them. So she has that one, but I'm gonna put Corey and Paige on that one, so they're gonna have a new combination record for the tournament if we happen to play Vanderbilt. And then right now how we do about it is, obviously we don't know which one we're gonna play. So tomorrow we're gonna meet at 8 a.m. They're all watching film now to see anything new, and then we'll try to take things that we need to prepare for based on what each one does. And then when they play, we're gonna take our team to the game on Wednesday. We'll practice immediately afterwards because then we know who our opponent is. Then we'll dial in and say, okay, here's what we got to make sure we know. Here's the true scout of what you got to get ready for, because prior to that, it's kind of here's what we got to be ready for if either one wins. So that's how we're looking at this week. And then it's one game at a time. You play, and then after that, it's on for the next one. And man, just ride the wave, and it's a beautiful thing. And I don't know how they do it at the SEC tournament, but the ACC, they always had balloons. And I always say, just like I say right now from March, Whitney Houston, I want to dance with somebody. When I get to the SEC tournament, I want to catch a balloon. All right? There's no greater feeling when those balloons come on you, and you just put your hand out with confetti and the swimming and, what we all see. There's no moment like it. So.
So this kind of goes back to Stefan's question before, but there's a lot of coaches that go to their first program as a head coach, and the first year, is a little bumpy, a little rocky. You kind of took over something the last few years that wasn't kind of the standard that it was a few years before that. But knowing that you're at least, likely going to the tournament, you won 20 games, what does that do for you? Can you kind of exhale, a sigh of relief, being okay, all this hard work we put into it, there's some momentum here to build on moving forward? You can, but at the same time, the work's undone. That's kind of my mindset. I'm fortunate again because my cloth and where I've been before, it's about this moment. I want my story and our program's legacy to be determined by what we do in March. The goals for this program, not just to get there, but then to make a splash. Because there's a lot of programs who just get in the tournament, but then they don't go anywhere.
everywhere. So we got to keep our foot on that gas pedal. To your point, we'll reflect on the end of the year and be proud of where we've gotten this. But again, I don't want to relax. This is separation season, and it's March, and it's anybody's opportunity. And again, I think it goes back to your question, how many one-game tournaments can we win? And if you win a lot of one-game tournaments, come on Whitney Houston and come on Balloons. Because again, there's no better feeling than this in March Madness.